How's that release date feel to you guys? It's right in the thick of things in the fall.
Yeah, it is. I'm very intrigued by the fact that they're releasing 2 of their biggest games in the same month. Not that they're really competing audiences.
They're very different.
They're very different. But yeah, that was surprising to me. I mean, what was really cool about this conference, though, as a whole, was that the focus really was on games that you can play this year, that you will get your hands on this year. You know, so often with E3, you'll see some sort of cinematic trailer for a game that you won't play, you won't see until, 2020 or something like that. And often it feels like you're just part of this big hype cycle, which of course, E3 kind of is, but it's really nice when a publisher comes along and says, actually, we're not going to show a ton of games, but the games that we are going to show, you will be able to play this year.
Right, and the show kicked off with confirmation that we are getting Fallout 4 VR as well as Doom VFR. Miranda, you're saying at the pre-show you weren't particularly interested in playing through all of Fallout 4 in VR. Did that do anything to change your mind?
No.
Okay.
The Vive headset is pretty heavy, even though the controls are interesting with those Vive controllers and just like toggling things and moving things. I could see myself building a very cool town, you know, just with those and like placing things very strategically. Like, I have a very set way of how I like to build my houses. And for everyone to live there, you have to have the gnomes in just the right place and your plates. You have to set the table. So that is an interesting aspect of the building part. But overall, I think it's still going to be a little bit of a taxing experience. Cool, but a little taxing just because it is, I don't think, the most optimal game for VR. But if I have the chance to try it, I absolutely will.
Sure. James?
Yeah, I think that Fallout VR struck me as a game that was adapted for VR, well adapted. Yeah. But, well, the Doom VFR looked like a game that was made specifically for VR, and there was kind of a dissonance there.
Yeah, tell me, what do you think Doom VFR is?
I think it's a made-for-VR Doom game that I am incredibly excited to play, and maybe that is like the understated thing of this showcase.
Siguranță vor fi fun ambele jocuri în VR.
I saw slow motion, I saw teleporting, which, motion you
adică
really have to nail down if you want to get the entire fan base. So it was very exciting to me that it was not just Doom adapted for VR, but rather
Dar nu poți juca mult pentru că
I agree. I think Doom definitely is what I want from a VR game. As I said before, I think VR in its present state is best suited to smaller, more focused experiences, and Doom VFR really looked like one of those. And plus, I'm just really keen to get back into Doom. I loved that game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays in VR.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It seems like you could also have a little bit tighter of an experience because it is a little bit more focused as opposed to Fallout, which is open world, just go anywhere. And just shotgunning the demons close up in the faces would be great, honestly.
You don't worry about Doom being so fast-paced in VR?
It seems like they have figured that out, like you're saying with the teleporting. I know a lot of games in VR do use that for motion, and I think we're going to be okay with that.
Sure. Also slow motion. Like that is super key. If you played super hot, time moves when you do, and that was really cool to see that.
We didn't get release dates for either of these, unless I'm mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't see them.
But like you were saying, Pete Hines did say that everything they showed today is coming out this year.
Da, așa că mă durează
that's correct. That's absolutely correct. I mean, I'm very interested in getting my hands on these games at the show. These are all playable here at E3. So
this is really interesting. I mean, there's some stuff on here that was not in Doom. This was not in. Maybe some of this stuff was pulled from Doom. There's the teleportation gameplay, and when you teleport, slow motion happens. And I actually think shooter is the best and most easily adapted conventional genre to VR, having played stuff like Robo Recall, Super Hot VR, and this to me felt like a killer app for VR. I've been teetering on the edge of buying an Oculus or a Vive, and this may well sell me. I was a huge fan of Doom 2016 and playing it in VR, especially when it's made for VR with those mechanics, is really exciting to me.
I wonder if this is an update to Doom. Part of that package, or a totally separate standalone thing?
It looks very separate with how you have to develop the movement for that. Like you have to alter how demons come at you because you are limited in that sense, and that you would have to, first is a learning curve of how to move by teleporting and also shooting and making sure you're not dying. And then also I think we just saw like a little bit of a boss fight maybe, and it had like those little ramps that are shooting up. So I think that would be a lot different too.
Cool. Well, we didn't know if it was going to make an appearance, so we were pleasantly surprised to see Skyrim on the Switch and with what looks like some bonus Legend of Zelda content.
That's wrong. It wasn't Mario. It was Link. It was Link, the Master Sword.
But it's actually like crazy how close to accurate you were.
I was being sarcastic too.
I know.
Wild lives on.
Well, I mean, it's my understanding that there is perhaps some amiibo compatibility.
Yeah, absolutely what it seems like. I wonder just how many are compatible with that. If it's just Zelda, I mean, that's all they showed, but I don't think they would just do it for Link.
I really like jacked Link.
I mean, he really is Jack Link. And I think someone was saying, oh, well, Link's in Skyrim, and it's like, no, he's not.
Yeah,
that's a buff dude.
Yeah,
that's
Link.
A really buff dude.
You can believe he's Link, though, if you try hard enough.
Squint your eyes.
Yeah, just make some sounds for yourself. Just,
o mașină mare a trecut afară.
Let's send it over to the IGN newsroom. Max Scoville is here with his take. Max, what do you think of Linkish, buff Link in Skyrim for Switch?
I love it. I mean, like, I bought Skyrim, I don't know how many times at this point, how many times I've started new files, but I've always said that, like, Skyrim is definitely, like, it's a desert island game, but the reality of me winding up on a desert island with, like, a PC or a console, kind of slim. Yeah. Nintendo Switch, on the other hand, makes a ton of sense. It's perfect. It's a game you can sink hours and hours and hours into. And doing it on the go sounds fantastic. Also, super funny with how much Breath of the Wild obviously borrowed from Skyrim.
Sure.
And modern open world games to see that kind of reciprocated. It's like it's cute. It's like a fun sort of nod. The amiibo support is. I jokingly predicted this a few days ago. Like, so jokingly, it wasn't even on a podcast or anything. But I'm glad we get it. It's super fun. The Master Sword makes so much sense. I do hope we get Mario. I think that'd be really cool. They have alluded to there being Smash Brothers stuff in there, too, which could get incredibly weird, though not quite as weird as some of the Skyrim mods we've seen. So that'll be fun. I hope we get continued support for this. I mean, it's interesting to see Bethesda, who's typically, they're very PC oriented. They're all about the gritty, hardcore stuff. Teaming up with Nintendo, who, they make toys, they make fun stuff. But I like the idea of maybe parents who played Skyrim when it came out, who have younger kids, being like, okay, 5 years ago you were too young to be slaying dragons, but maybe now you're old enough. Yeah. Let's give this a shot.
Now it's time. Bethesda said everything they were showing today was coming out this year, but were you disappointed that we didn't get an exact release date for Skyrim on Switch?
That's not totally out of the ordinary for Nintendo. I mean, they frequently are like, it'll be out soonish, and it comes out on like a Saturday morning so kids can go to the store with their folks,
Yeah, that's true. All right, thanks a lot, Max. They just showed the one amiibo functionality, bring in the Master Sword and Link's outfit into Switch. I hope there's a little bit more than that.
So we floated the idea of Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
You know what's in Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Pikachu.
Oh boy! All right, we've got
and a lot of other great characters.
It's just this insane dissonance of having Smash Brothers characters in this very high fantasy world.
Yeah.
So just
like anybody from there.
But you're right. The mods have already been outrageous. So
why not?
Yeah, why not?
Have fun with it.
Would play. All right, we got to take a quick break, but our Bethesda post show continues right after this.
Biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we've got your all-access pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks. IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turns Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by two players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3. We just saw Bethesda's press conference, and this is the post-show. One of the topics was Creation Club, furthering their commitment to mods in the community.
Creation Club nu mi-a plăcut.
James, what did you make of Creation Club for Skyrim and Fallout 4?
It was oddly similar to one of the most disastrous moves in video games ever, and that was Steam Workshop paid mods, which Steam and the developer took a hefty chunk of the mod, though this seemed a lot more curated. It seemed like they were contacting the content creators specifically, but that is definitely gutsy of them because it's a very sensitive topic for the modding community.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to hear more about it in terms of curation, because definitely I was just scrolling on Twitter after that was announced, and the reaction was not immediately positive. I just think that paid mods are like always a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little weird because mods are free. Like, it's a thing, and it's just to change that. Like, why would you want to do that? I do see some benefits, though, if, like, Bethesda has a hand. Like, I don't think they would change the mod system that we already have. They're just offering another option for mods that are essentially approved by Bethesda and saying, hey, these aren't going to break your game, and you can download them safely, and they'll work well.
Sure. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that we need answered is what is that currency, and how do I get it that we're purchasing those mods with? What is that, like, energy? We need to know.
Yeah, I wonder what the impetus was on Bethesda's part. They said they were working with other developers.
Yes.
So does that mean like professional developers to make content? How did you read that?
That's kind of what I picked it up as. It's like they said third-party developers. So I'm just thinking people around the industry who just, I really want to make a Skyrim thing, and then they do it, and they said, hey, you want to work out some deal, and then they do. Like, I would be really curious how that works with like conflicts of interest and stuff.
Yeah.
But that would be really neat to see somebody from another studio invested in this game and bring a little bit of their touch to one of Bethesda's games.
There are definitely going to need to be some very clear T's and C's for this venture, because I mean, as you say, conflict of interest, that sort of thing. Like, what is a third-party developer? What does that mean? Is that like someone who develops games from their bedroom, or does that mean someone who develops games, on a more professional level?
Well, there is a Dishonored 2 expansion on the way. Continuăm
imediat.